Good morning. Thank you again for taking the time to watch this video. Once again, we're kind of moving away from dealing with the legalities, dealing with RICO issues, dealing with form issues, and we're dealing with selling issues. We're dealing with tackling a tough market, tackling a changing market. And I'm trying to throw out ideas that you can, hopefully I'll get the wheels turning, get you thinking, and you'll come up with some applications to make deals that wouldn't otherwise happen. They're not automatic any longer. And I want to talk to you today about building an investment network. If you know me, you know I'm a big fan of investment real estate. And let me start by saying I thoroughly believe in real estate. And I hope you do. I hope you believe in the product, believe in real estate. And I think it's always a great time to buy if you're an investor. You know, you hear people saying, well, maybe the market's gonna drop, prices are gonna drop a bit, and maybe this and maybe that, maybe I should wait. And you know, if you're a speculator, or perhaps if you're a renovator, there's some merit in that. If I have to sell again, and I need to have a very, very sharp point and to make a profit, it's very critical that my timing is right. But if I'm an investor, it doesn't really matter. Now is always the time. For one reason, you're not buying to sell. You're buying to keep and create a revenue stream. You have to also understand that if you structure it right, eventually the mortgage will be paid off from the cash flow from rent. And thirdly, you have to realize that the market will catch up. Even if there's a dip, there has been a dip in the last 2.5 months in prices, it'll come back. It'll come back over time, always has, always will. And so for the speculator and for the renovator, where he's talking in a very short time frame, he's got to watch the market very carefully. Same as somebody working the stock market. But for an investor, the time is now. Let me share with you something that I try and teach from time to time. It's very difficult to teach. I call it prospecting by driving around. When you're in your car and you're driving around, keep your eyes open for something that looks interesting. Looks like there could be a possibility there. What am I talking about? Well, a vacant lot. You never noticed before, but there's a vacant lot between these two houses. Why is it vacant? Why isn't there something built on it? Be Columbo and start looking around, dig in, find out who owns it, contact them, find out if they're interested in selling. There's builders who are looking for infill lots because we've got no open land available in St. Catharines, and a lot that can be built on is very valuable and very much sought after. Look at a house that the lawn's a foot high, weeds all over the place. Is it vacant? Does it have a bad tenant? There's a potential there. And it's amazing. On Ontario Street, across from Lynnhaven pretty much, there was a little tiny commercially zoned lot, little triangles, irregular shape, and I was amazed. When it was sold, the party who bought it has put in a dental clinic there. Take a look when you're driving down Ontario Street, and it's amazing with parking and the size building, what they got on that lot. So there's an immense possibility of keeping your eyes open. But one of the things I want to challenge you is drive around and look for investment property that's duplex, triplex. How do you know? Well, you can tell by the doors, you can tell by the hydrometers more than anything, you can tell by the number of mailboxes. Find some multi-family properties and find out who the owner is. Either look it up on GeoWarehouse or go knock on the door and find out if the person coming to the door is the owner or if they're a tenant. If they're a tenant, ask them how to get in touch with the owner and end up with some people who own investment properties. Now you're going to want to get in touch with them. And I'll tell you a secret about investors. They're one of two categories. Either they want to acquire more, they're a happy landlord, or they're fed up and they want to get rid of the properties that they have. Very seldom are you going to run into one that's going to be an investor, is happy what he's got, doesn't want to acquire more, don't want to sell more. It happens. I have a property on one particular street, a triplex, and I wanted to pick up another one on the same street. And this some years ago, and I knocked on some doors, and I got talking to a guy who owned virtually the same property, and it turned out he owned the one next door. I asked him if he wanted to sell. He said, no, I'd love to buy more. But he said, my wife won't let me. So that was a case where the guy was static. He wasn't going to sell, he wasn't going to buy. But usually they're in one category or another. So you talk to the owner of the property, say, I noticed you own a duplex on such and such street. Have you considered selling it? And he'll either say, well, you know, I'm really fed up with this, I'm fed up with a tenant, whatever, and you find that he is a potential seller, or he'll say, heck no, I'm in the market to get more. And you say to them, listen, I am building a portfolio of properties and investors, and if I come across a really good investment property, duplex or triplex, would you like me to call you? Yeah, please let me know. And you're building your database of landlords that can be buyers or that can be sellers. And you just work, I don't mean you spend all your time doing it. You spend a little bit of time one day, a little bit of time another day, and you'll find that you're going to develop some leads. And if you're passionate about real estate and believe in investment real estate, it isn't going to be very long until you start putting these kind of deals together. And another thing about it, I'll just share with this in final leaving, is sometimes when you've got an investor who is tired of being a landlord and wants to cash out and sell his property, the question comes up, what is he going to do with the money? If he's not going to buy another investment property, he doesn't need it to buy his own home, he's already got his own home, this is surplus cash. He is a great candidate for a vendor take-back. You can get him to hold financing that's going to be a competitive rate. It can be even lower than mortgage rates prevailing, but at the same time, it's better rates than what he would get at the bank if you put the money in the bank, and it can be a great fit for a buyer, and it can be a real marketing strategy in selling that property. Hope that makes sense. I hope you can get some valuable insight and ideas from what I shared. I'll look forward to talking to you again next week.